Hi, it's John Adams, and I'm the Public Crusader. Today, I've got a special announcement. In the last 24 hours, I've been able to publicly release my new website, The Public Crusader. The web address is thepubliccrusader.com. The purpose of this site is to bring into one location all of my public initiatives and all of my public work that I've been pursuing since 2018, but also to create new infrastructure that gives me the ability to better rally the various elements of the Australian community so that we can actually drive the change that we want. I said at the beginning of this year that this was the year of the revolution. This is the year that we really have to push the envelope if we're actually going to transform the country into the country that we want to see. So that's the purpose of the site. It's a very basic site just to get the ball rolling. And I'm going to run you through for the next few minutes what the site entails, and then obviously if there is further enhancements to be made, we'll make those enhancements. If you have some feedback about the site, how the site can be better, feel free to let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are, and we can also work to build a site that is not only useful for me but also useful for the public at large. So in terms of this main page, we just have a basic profile about me, my whole commitment to the public interest, my frustration that the country has gone backwards and that we need to do something more and bigger if we're going to actually improve the country. I have here, if you look at the screen, I've got some information about me, in terms of my professional background. Here we have a few tabs that looks at some of my current initiatives, some of my past initiatives, and we have an ability for people to subscribe. We'll get into that in a second. We have a social media post that comes straight from a linked Facebook account. But also down the bottom, we have the all the recent videos from the new YouTube channel, The Public Crusader. So pretty much, if we go to the top here and you look at the various tabs across, the first thing you'll notice when you look at the top is you've got a subscribe button. The subscribe button, I think, is the most important button of the entire site, because in order to drive certain outcomes or certain decisions that we may want, particularly when it comes to Parliament, the more people we can rally towards the cause, whatever that cause may be, the better chance we have to be politically more effective. And so, while I do have a database that I've built up over the last few years using one of my old sites, we're also trying to what we're trying to do here with this new site is to obviously encourage more people, new supporters, new followers of the content to subscribe, and we will be able to communicate when there is something important to communicate about various initiatives or various important things that are happening in terms of economics or politics or in terms of culture, socially, etc. And hopefully that will be an ability to keep people informed, but also to give people practical action of what they can do in order to assist in driving the public policy change that I think this country deserves. So below that, you see a whole bunch of little icons. I basically have social media accounts set up all over the place. So we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn. We have a link to our YouTube channel, The Public Crusader. We have TikTok. TikTok, we have a channel set up. We haven't done much with it, but I'm hoping to develop some content there. And we have Telegram as well, and we have a Telegram group that I've been running for a couple of years. So below that, we have a number of other tabs. So we look at current initiatives. So when you look at current initiatives, so basically, what I'm saying here is that I've got two initiatives that I'm running at the moment. One is reforming ASIC, and that's obviously with the public analysis that I did last October and the current inquiry into ASIC being run by the Senate Economics References Committee. That's one of the big public initiatives that I'm running at the moment. And then we obviously have the package, which is my self-funded investigation into white collar crime, white collar scandal, which is the 608 pages which I gave ASIC in April of last year, and they've confirmed on 3 occasions that there is an ongoing investigation afoot. So that's the second big current project I'm working on. And dare I say, because these projects do take a lot of time and effort to actually get the outcome, I'll be focusing on these projects over the next couple of months before we announce a couple of new projects that I'm hoping to publicly announce. And obviously, we'll be communicating those through this YouTube channel. And obviously, when I announce a new project, I'll be explaining why they're important. And obviously, then how can the public at large get involved in order to drive the change that we all want to see? So that's what you'll see in terms of current initiatives. Then you'll see a little tab here called Key Documents. The one key document that comes from the current initiatives is my public submission that I gave to the ASIC inquiry, the 106 pages, which is all my public analysis about ASIC's performance. So you can hit that Key Documents page like that. And then you'll see current initiatives. So you can download my submission and you'll be able to read that, and you can pass it around and dissect it, share it with anyone who you want. And that's available freely for anyone to have access to. Then when we go across and you look at past initiatives, so 4 initiatives I'm calling out that I think that I played a major role in, to be either bringing attention to the issue, or in some cases we were able to be successful. So the one is exposing unallocated, pool allocated problems of the Perth Mint. This happened in February, March, and April of 2021. It created a global firestorm in the precious metals market. We were able to then communicate with thousands of investors across the world, calling out what is unallocated and pool allocated, and obviously what are the problems with that, both from a investment point of view, a legal point of view, etc. And because of that campaign, we woke a number of investors up. A number of investors basically said they had no interest in investing in paper, gold and silver products. They wanted the real thing, and they were able to get out of these particular products and actually move to owning physical gold, physical silver, where they actually have full legal ownership. In terms of the next campaign that I'm calling out in terms of past initiatives, and this is the big signature victory that we had in 2020, is defeating the $10,000 cash transaction ban. There were a number of people involved in this particular campaign. I'll call out Martin North. I'll call out Robbie Barwick and the Citizens Party. They were instrumental in helping us rallying thousands of Australians across the country, and then obviously engaging both in the Treasury process as well as in the parliamentary process as well. I'll also call out Florian Heisey, and from Heisey Says. He was another big person as well. And then there was also thousands of other people across Australia who basically said we were not going to allow the Morrison government to put us in jail for using legal tender. And that was, we were the only second country in the developed world to stop this type of legislation from passing Parliament. The first one was Germany in 2016, Australia in 2020. Took us 16 months to defeat it. There was a lot of people in 2019 when we started this campaign that they said it's impossible. Parliament's going to do what Parliament's going to do. The people have no opportunity to influence the course of events. But what we were able to show was that through a focused campaign, deep research, and actually exposing the flaws in the arguments of the government, we were able to place enough political pressure on the entire Parliament. And we said, no way, no how. And the Parliament finally relented at the end of 2020 when Senator Malcolm Roberts moved a motion in the Australian Senate to remove the legislation from the notice paper. And then once that happened, that whole legislation has been killed off, and there is no prospect of Australians going to jail for using cash. And that is obviously a major victory. If we go to the next one, obviously fighting against bank deposit bail-in. So in mid-2020, the Citizens Party basically developed some legislation. It was introduced into the Australian Senate by Senator Malcolm Roberts to amend the Banking Act to provide legal certainty that bail-in could never happen in Australia. Part of the inquiry process that was instigated following Senator Roberts' introduction of the legislation, I was able to write the lead 32-page submission into that particular bill. Unfortunately, because of COVID, there was no opportunity for public hearings, and so the inquiry was a very short inquiry, and it was just based on a range of public submissions. But we were able to bring attention to the whole matter. Now, unfortunately, once the inquiry was over and there was a report handed down, Senator Roberts did move the legislation in the Senate, and this was obviously again 2020 in the last Parliament, and there was no support from either the coalition or Labor to support a very small amendment to the Banking Act. So, even though we were unsuccessful to change the legislation, what we were able to achieve in the inquiry is to do a lot of important, both historical and legal research about this whole issue. And dare I say that there could be an opportunity in 2023 to bring back the issue, given that we have a new government and we have a new Senate. And there could be an appetite to revisit the issue. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But that was another important campaign where concerned citizens came together. We got an inquiry to be established. We were able to bring a lot of important research together. There was a number of mainstream media articles written about this inquiry and in terms of the key arguments we were making. And given that New Zealand has, given that New Zealand publicly acknowledges bank bail-in, it could occur there, and that there are bank bail-in regimes both in Europe and North America, pursuing this issue is still important in the public interest. And whether it's me or the Citizens Party or other people, we haven't given up the fight to try to ensure with 100% certainty that the Banking Act doesn't provide any wiggle room in the case of an emergency that this could happen. Because what we saw, particularly during the pandemic, is that there's a whole range of political promises and there's a whole range of assumptions that people make about how the laws actually work, but also that the law will stay the same. But what we saw in the last few years is that once you have an emergency, that emergency can then transform into something of a nightmarish situation. And that's obviously what we saw in the last couple of years. And then the last campaign I'm calling out is that the 28 campaign that Martin North and I ran when we were calling out the RBA and the lack of transparency around its gold holdings. We did a number of videos back then. It caught a lot of public attention. A number of our viewers wrote to the RBA and basically said, we want more information about the gold. Where is it? This whole issue about gold leasing, explain it. And so as a result of that, the RBA actually created a webpage where there's a lot more information about gold and the gold holdings and gold leasing and all the arrangements and gold and the entire issue in terms of gold audits. And because of that campaign in 2018 and because of the additional exposure of information we were able to achieve, that's given Senator Rennick the basis over the last few years to pursue this issue in Parliament. And because of the efforts of Senator Rennick, that has brought this whole issue to light. And so we've been able to expose the issue. We've been able to educate the public. There's been a lot more information on the public record that wasn't available before. But the key issue here is that the fight over the gold is not over. There's a number of people, including myself, who believe that the gold should be back in Australia, and there is no public policy necessity to keep the gold in the Bank of England. So while we were able to achieve a small victory in 2018, the war continues in terms of the RBA and gold. So if you look at current videos, so these are basically current videos in terms of this year. So we have our new YouTube channel, The Public Crusader. So we have all those videos up there. And then we have, in the interest of the people, some of the videos that I've done with Martin North since January. So we've put them up there. And I plan to do a lot more videos throughout the year. Obviously, I have a knack for being on other YouTube channels and other platforms as well. So once I complete those interviews are going to be put on this page that will be made available to various people. Then when we look at historical videos, these are the videos that I've been involved in pretty much prior to this year. So from 2018 through to 2022, I've done plenty of videos, plenty of interviews, a whole host of topics. All of those major presentations are here on this particular site, and you can go through the whole catalog of various videos that I've done, and you can play back and obviously listen to some of the things that I've said in the past. So if you can look at this particular webpage in the news, Since about 2015, there's been over 65 mentions of me in the mainstream media. And what I've tried to do on this webpage is to basically put a link to all the various articles where I've been mentioned, so that we actually have a catalog of all of the public work that I've done and where I've been recognized by the mainstream media. These articles are important because still, even till today, mainstream media publications, it still has a great ability to project a message to a broader cross section of the public. And so while social media and the alternative media like YouTube can play a significant role in shaping people's views and rallying people towards a cause, getting the support or even being mentioned in the mainstream media, that is still a critical component in order to drive a particular public campaign. So that's why I thought, given that I've been mentioned quite a few times in the mainstream media over the last few years, how about we create a page so that people can look back at all the various references to me and they can go back and read those articles. The last thing to mention is that we have a public web page where people can send me a message using a particular form, or you could easily just simply send me an email at john@publiccrusader.com. I will get those emails personally. I will read them, and if there is a need to respond to those particular emails, that I will. So in conclusion, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your support. Hopefully this site is just the beginning of something special that we're going to keep on pushing in 2023. And hopefully we can actually, again, achieve some big outcomes, change the course of Australian history, and actually improve the lives of Australians across the board. I'm John Adams, and I'm the Public Crusader.